described the web browser as a killer application, haven't you?
I'm not sure what you're talking about. You'd have to show me the context.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like you to look at exhibit number 1, Mr. Gates, right here in front of you. This is a memorandum that reports to be from you to your executive staff, dated May 22, 1996, and that attaches, for want of a better word, an essay entitled "The Internet PC," which is dated April 10th, 1996. Do you recall writing that essay?
It looks like this is an email, not a memorandum.
You recall writing the essay dated April 10th, 1996, entitled "The Internet PC"?
Yeah, it looks like an essay I wrote. I don't remember specifically, but it does look like something I wrote.
The portion of it I want to refer you to is at the bottom of the first page under the heading called "The Latest Killer App." You see that?
I see a heading.
Yes. The first paragraph under that heading reads as follows, quote, "Our industry is always looking for the next killer application, for a category of software that by its utility and intelligent design becomes indispensable to millions of people. Word processors and spreadsheets were the killer applications for business PC starting in 1981. Then the next sentence reads, "The latest confirmed killer app is the web browser." Recall writing that, sir?
No.
Do you have any reason to believe you didn't write it?
No.
Can you explain what you meant here by describing the web browser as a killer app?
I just meant that browsing would be, in our view, a popular thing, not necessarily on the web, but just browsing in general would be a popular activity.
Is a killer application an application that drives sales of other products like operating systems and hardware?
No.
Do you have a definition in your own mind of killer application?
It means a popular application.
Let me resort again to the Microsoft Computer Dictionary. I'll read you what that says about killer application. You may disagree with it, so you can tell me. The Microsoft Computer Dictionary, 1997 edition, defines killer app as follows. And there's two definitions, and I'll be very complete this time, Mr. Gates. The first definition is an application of such popularity and widespread standardization that it fuels sales of the hardware platform or operating system for which it was written. Do you agree with that definition?
You're saying to me that there's more in there and you're just reading me part of it?
I'm going to read you the second definition as well. But, the question
so you
is,
were asking me about it without reading me the whole thing?
No, sir. It gives two definitions. You're familiar with dictionaries, I take it. Sometimes they have more than one definition of a term, correct?
Sometimes terms have more than one meaning, so it's actually fairly appropriate that dictionaries would give the two different meanings. And generally, before you'd ask somebody if they agreed with the dictionary, you'd actually give them the benefit of reading them what's in the dictionary, not just a part of it.
Well, I'm reading the first definition. I asked if you agree with that definition.
I don't think it's the only definition.
But is that an accurate definition?
I'd like to hear what the other...
I'll read it to you. The second definition is an application that supplants its competition. Now let me go back and read you the first definition again, now that you've heard both of them. The first definition reads as follows. An application of such popularity and widespread standardization that it fuels sales of the hardware platform or operating system for which it was written.
Yeah, I already told you my definition of killer app is a very popular application.
Is this definition accurate?
I told you when I use the term killer application, in particular when I use it in a piece of email, what I mean by it. I'm sure there's people...
I understand you've told me that, but there's another question on the table now. Do you have any any disagreement with this definition?
I think most people, when they use the word killer app, are not necessarily tying it to any relationship to hardware.
What about a relationship to an operating system?
Usually they're just talking about it being a very popular application. I certainly know of things that have been referred to as killer applications that haven't driven hardware sales or operating system
What
sales.
other applications would you identify as being killer applications?
A flight simulator.
Any others?
But you always have to take a year and a context for those things. For example, when desktop publishing software became popular in the 1980s, many people referred to it that way. When people were talking about interactive TV, they thought video on demand would be a killer application, and something went wrong because the whole thing never caught on. But people had been using that term, the idea of letting people watch movies, as something that would be extremely popular.
In what time frame was the web browser a killer application?
I think web browsers became very popular between 95 and 97. They became very popular.
So at that point in time, web browser was, in your definition, a killer application?
They were very popular, yeah.
Microsoft currently markets operating systems for personal computers, correct?
Yes.
What operating systems for personal computers does Microsoft currently have on the marketplace?
Well, we have MS-DOS. We've got Windows CE. It's got a lot of different versions. We've got Windows 3X, Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows NT version 3, Windows NT version 4.
Are all those operating systems currently being marketed by Microsoft?
Yes.
Does Microsoft endeavor to track its market share with respect to operating systems on personal computers?
There's not some unified effort to do that.
Is there anybody in Microsoft responsible for trying to determine what Microsoft's market share is with respect to PC operating systems?
No.
Have you seen any figures indicating what Microsoft's market share is with respect to operating systems on personal computers?
From time to time, people when they're doing marketing analysis may pull together some figures like that. And depending on what the context is, there'll be different numbers.
I'd like to mark as Exhibit 338 fiscal year 1996 mid-year review dated January 22, 1996. Is Exhibit 338 a type of document you refer to that contains market share information?
I don't know anything about 338.
Have you ever seen it before?
No.
Do you know what position Joachim Kempen held in January 1996?
Yes.
What was his position at that time?
He's in charge of our relationships with hardware manufacturers.
Do you have any understanding that one of Mr. Kempen's job responsibilities in that connection in 1996 was to try to determine what Microsoft's market share was with respect to operating systems sold to hardware manufacturers?